Well, Coach, I don't have to tell you, playing the Rose Bowl forever, that was the number one goal. You went there in 2010, played against Chip Kelly. What do you remember about that game? And obviously, it was a big Buckeye win.
Well, they had a great team, and it was exciting for our guys to be out there. There's no game like that, and it was great to see all our fans out there. And when you're playing against a great team, you just prepare like crazy, and from the opening whistle, you got to go out there and play your best. And our kids came out of the gate pretty well, and held on and came up with a good win.
Was it everything you thought it would be?
It really was. I had been there as an assistant coach, uh, but it's a little bit different, when it's your own team, and it was a lot of fun, all the pageantry and so forth. I don't know, with it being a playoff game now, if the players get to be involved in as many of the things. It's a little different than a bowl game, uh, but the stakes are high, and I know how excited Ryan and the team are. Uh, they're so appreciative of all those students sticking around after they could have gone home and braving the cold, and the marching band could have gone home, and all the fans could have watched it on TV or whatever, and everyone came out and braved the cold with them, and I know how appreciative they are of the support, and I know they'll be excited to see the support out there in Pasadena, and the people that attend that game as fans always say there's really no bowl game like it.
I remember your game, and I remember TP Terrell Pryor played really a big game in that game, and then
Yeah.
Vera Posey had a big touchdown in that game. Those are some of the plays and players that jump out to me.
Well, no doubt about it. We knew how good Oregon was on offense, and our game plan was to keep the ball away from them. And our offense did an excellent job of that. Our defense got off the field quickly. I think we had the ball 42 and a half minutes or something crazy. And other than our special teams, I do remember we let out a punt return. We let out a kickoff return for way too many yards. But what the heck? They were a good football team, and it was just an honor to be a part of that game.
You think about then and where we are now. Chip Kelly, who was the coach of Oregon, now is the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. How well do you know Chip, and what do you think? Will this be, this is their second go around with this team, but
Yeah.
this is his old club.
No, it really is. And I remember pregame, Chip and I standing out there right on that rose in the middle of the field, and we were talking, and we looked around and at those mountains, and we said, "Isn't this amazing?" Two 1AA guys standing. He's a New Hampshire guy, and I'd come from Youngstown State, and we were saying, two small college guys sitting here looking at these mountains, and coaching two great universities, and I'm sure it will be very emotional for Chip. I mean, he not only was it his team, uh, but here he is coaching with his pupil. With Ryan, he had coached Ryan. Uh, the game means so much. Both teams, this may be the two best teams in the country. Who knows? Uh, and so the stakes are high, and uh, I have always felt it's a little bit of an emotional advantage uh, if you play a team a second time. I remember one time we had to play Eastern Kentucky twice, who was always one of the Herculoids in 1AA, and we beat them in the regular season, and then we were facing them in the third round of the playoffs. And I remember how uh, you know difficult we knew that it would be, and fortunately we won the game at the buzzer. But when you play a team a second time, uh, you know each other pretty well.
Tress, last time we saw each other was at Ohio Stadium, and it was not a good afternoon for the Buckeyes. Uh, you surprised at all with the way they bounced back and looked so dominant against Tennessee? And, that looks like two totally different teams.
Uh, I think they took a deep breath, and I know how bad they felt about letting the people down. And that's when you're a coach or a player there. So much of it is you want to bring joy to all those people that support you so well, and so I know they felt bad that the outcome wasn't what it could be. Uh, and you have to give them credit. And that shows you the quality of people that are coaching there, Ryan and his staff. It shows you the quality of those kids, because it would have been easy just to, moan and groan and pout and so forth, but they did just the opposite. They said, "Hey, we're going to get to work, and now we're going to find out where we've got to get better." And you have to give them a lot of credit. The way they came out of the gate against Tennessee, I'm not sure Tennessee knew what hit them. And we always talk about those teams from the South. If they get hit early in the cold, what they're most interested in is getting warm. And I think our Buckeyes did that.
The other thing too, Tress, that the Michigan game's always going to be a big game, but times are changing and the landscape is changing. Many believe we're witnessing the professionalism of a big time college football. There's only been one undefeated Super Bowl champ. And, if Ohio State wins it all this year, it'll be 16 games played. There's a shot going forward that Ohio State and Michigan could play 3 times in the same year. I mean,
sure.
There's going to be a learning curve with this new system, isn't there?
Yeah, the only thing constant is change. And the rules of engagement of the moment are the rules of engagement. I don't know that any of us like all of them, but there's some exciting parts to it. I happen to be a big fan of playoffs. We lived that life for so long at Youngstown State, and there's nothing like the thrill of trying to play 4 or 5 top 10 teams in a row. I mean, it's a great challenge. It's a great thrill, and so these are the times we're in, and we've got to make sure we're ready for the times, and I'm pretty confident on January 1 we'll be ready for these times.
You said earlier it's hard to beat a team twice in the same year.
Yeah.
If Ohio State can play like they played against Tennessee, how do you see this game going?
It's 2 really good teams, and Tennessee looked to me like, especially with attrition, if either of the 2 teams lose as many players as Tennessee did early in the game there with the running back and the receiver, and it seemed like their guys were on the ground. There was more injury timeouts than there were anything. So if anybody loses, a lot of players, it's going to be hard. But my bet is these are 2 really physical teams. They're 2 really good teams. There'll be a fun chess match, to see how each of them will play it differently this time. We've got to make sure our fans are very loud so that, let's face it, Oregon had an advantage playing at home with 90% of the people being for them. And you gain a little energy from your fans, and our fans always show up. And so I'm expecting this to be a heck of a ball game. 2 good teams, like most big games. The team that makes the least mistakes, the team that makes the big plays. You got to come up with those. Remember Jake Ballard's catch in the Rose Bowl? That was, the game was getting tight, and he jumped in the air and made the big 3rd down catch, and we moved it down and moved the score out a little bit more. And so who's going to make the plays? Who's going to not make mistakes? Who's going to stay healthy? That's the story of the playoffs in general, though. The way you can advance and go forward is stay healthy. And so it's going to be fun to watch.
You're in a rare fraternity. All 4 of you living coaches have Rose Bowl victories. How proud are you of that?
Well, that was a special game. A lot of your victories are special, and you don't rank one over the other. But I remember looking out over those mountains with that red sky at the end of that game saying, man, it doesn't get a whole bunch better than this.
And you still have your Rose Bowl jacket.
I got my Rose Bowl jacket on from right there in 2009 season, 2010 Rose Bowl, and I've been wearing it this week just to get ready.
Let me put you on the spot. Handicap for us. Who do you see winning this?
Oh, I really think the Bucks can, without a doubt, win the football game. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it may have some ebbs and flows, but my guess would be the team that has the emotional advantage, which I think we do. There's something about it's hard to create emotion, and just like if you lost to a team last year, I think this year you have a little emotional advantage. There's just something because you've been thinking about it all year. Well, we've been thinking about, whatever it was, game 6 or whatever number it was, We've been thinking about that all year, and you don't think about it constantly, but it's in the back of your head that, boy, I'd like another chance at that. And so now we have our other chance at that. So I would certainly go with the Buckeyes.
Last thing, Tress, a lot of people think this game could be the national title game, that these are the two best teams in the country playing, kind of like in 2014 when Ohio State beat Alabama in the semifinal and then took care of Oregon. We think back to where you guys, not a lot of people gave you a chance against Miami and you won that. Are these right now the two best teams in the country playing, you think?
I think you could probably make the argument for that. But what's hard in the playoffs is you just don't know how teams' trajectory is going. I know we won the national championship at Youngstown State from, I think, the number 8 spot or the ninth seed. One time, I think we're even the 12th seed. One time, we were the number 1 seed and got beat in the opening round. So you never know for sure if you just knew what that trajectory and what the health is. I think the health of a team is critical. But I think you could have a good argument that these may be the two best teams. But no matter what, after we win this one, we think that next team is one of the two best teams. That's just the way you go in coaching.
Great job, buddy. Appreciate you.